No good hook for this episode because I am filming it entirely and completely unscripted. I'm hoping this works out well. If not, you'll never see this. As you can see, I've got a new setup going on, which is why I just wanted to grab the mic and just record something, because I have been extremely stressed out about all of this, and I kind of needed to vent about what this past few weeks has been. It's been a while since I recorded an episode. I stockpiled a lot of them. The last one I recorded was a week from yesterday, so a lot has happened since then. Last episode I talked about the trip for my sister's graduation and me getting sick before that and after that, and kind of the journey that was on there. And today I really want to talk about the deeper impacts that trip really had on me since then, and what caused me to change up the whole setup and everything like that, because this is not something that I just do casually. To get things started, I think I want to start off with a little story of my life. Picture this. You know, in a lot of stories, we have characters who have kind of one defining trait about them, and that is who they are, that is what they do. They're a techie, they're a blacksmith, they're a warrior, they're a doctor, and that's kind of what defines them. For my entire life, I have tried to find something to define me. Some activity or skill that I can kind of attribute my whole being to, and that all of it can kind of be rooted out from there. This has happened dozens of times for me. I thought about cooking, engineering, I thought about graphic design, I thought about music production, video editing, and then what I eventually landed on was programming, which, funnily enough, I never really felt encompassed my personality in a way that was really fulfilling. And so the journey has continued of trying to find something that can really define me. And the trouble is, a lot of people that I know in my life have told me that this is not a worthwhile pursuit, because finding purpose in something external to yourself, like a activity or something like that, is fruitless and, in fact, damaging for you, because that thing isn't going to be around forever. And I've taken this and I've kind of heeded the warning, which is why I'm in the career that I'm in right now, is because I am in a job that does not define me in any way. Something that I'm good at, something that I can do day in, day out, that I don't hate, but doesn't creep any further than it needs to. Keeping that work-life balance is very easy, because the job itself is not something that I feel a desire to do outside of what's necessary. But the problem with this is that I am not the kind of person who can do something that I'm not passionate about. I've had a lot of people in my life, my mentors, various mentors in my life, comment on the fact that I think about and am critical about how I spend my time more than anybody they've ever met. I am a questioner. I'm an overthinker. I am a guy who is constantly analyzing, constantly improving, and constantly trying to change. This serves me well in a lot of respects and has made me who I am today in a lot of respects. But it also means that I am not the type of guy who can settle into a job that is just fine. That's where I've been for a very long time, is just a job, just with a job that's just fine. That's just kind of how it is. But it's not sustainable for me. I get antsy, which is why I have projects like this and a million other projects going on. What I'm describing is nothing new. If you've listened to previous shows, I've described this multiple times because it is one of the greatest struggles of my young life. Because I have the freedom to make a lot of choices that other people can't because they are more pigeonholed into something. They have more responsibilities. I have the benefit of still being very young and have a lot of opportunities ahead of me that I can take advantage of, that I can pursue these things. My mind is still pretty mushy, so I can learn a lot of new things and alter where I'm going depending on what I want. And so this kind of weight that I feel, this pressure to do something that I truly love, that's truly meaningful, it weighs on me a lot. And that's what this past week has been. This past week has been just, I think, the hardest weight, the heaviest weight of purpose and urgency I have felt in months. I have this incredible pressure that keeps me from doing really anything because I feel that everything that I should do needs to be perfect. It needs to live up to this standard of something that can truly define my life and be meaningful in a deep way. I have this video written out because just a few days ago, I hit the 1-year anniversary of living on my own. I have a full video written out, shot list, everything picked out for going over this experience for me. And the whole idea with it is something that is honest, well filmed, helpful for me to reflect on, helpful for others, and something that I feel really hits a lot of the YouTube algorithm points where this video could actually possibly take off and make this channel more of a real thing than it is. Because right now, I'll be honest, it's kind of a playground for me. There's 0 consequences. Largest video I've had in a year is 75 views. And I've been just constantly putting it off. Mostly because I've been so stressed out and not feeling like myself in a way that I don't want to be portrayed in this video. Because this is an important video for me. It is something that will, I hope, stand the test of time as being a helpful thing for me to look back on and a helpful thing for other people. And I want it to be truly great. But I just kind of have to sit down and make it at some point. I hate it too because the further I get away from the actual 1-year anniversary, the less authentic that it feels because it's not actually the 1-year anniversary anymore. I planned to record it on the actual anniversary, but it just didn't work out, partially because of this immense amount of pressure that I feel. And it's not exclusive to this specific case. This immense pressure has been really engulfing me in a lot of things. This desk setup is one of them, partially because there are elements of it that are a lot more permanent. I put up some corkboard paneling onto the wall here, and you can see that I've strategically placed my camera so that you can't see it because I hated it. The color was just disgusting. So I took it down and returned it same day that it came. And unfortunately, I live in an apartment with paint that if you breathe on it wrong, it will just completely tear apart. So now my wall is just covered in various paint tears. I have someone coming out here to fix it up, and I have some other plans of how to make that not happen in the future, but all of these things kind of feel permanent. And I think partially it's because of the mental impact that hitting an anniversary like this can have on somebody, because I feel like every decision that I'm making right now is extremely important. I'm realizing that I'm never going to be 20 again. That this year I can never get back. And that whatever I invest my time into is how I spent my 20th year on this planet. And to be honest, it scares the shit out of me. Sorry, Granddad, I just swore. It's severe words for severe circumstances, because it really does. I don't know what to do. I've kind of built this persona in my mind and with other people that I am the guy whose life is handled. That when everything else is falling apart, at least we know Luke's okay. Luke is always thriving. And it scares the hell out of me to think that that might not be true. That I might let myself and others down. Wow. Oh, okay. This is a real one, I guess. This is what happens whenever I just pull out the camera and don't have a script. But I'm just going to keep going. I know that all of this pressure and everything on me is too much, and that it's actually counterproductive. Me thinking about how fleeting my time is makes me use my time less valuably. If I just live in the moment and don't think about the future in that deep and paralyzing way, I will actually spend it better. But I could say it all I want. It doesn't make it actually happen. There are some practical ways that I've been trying to manage this, but none of them have really been working all that well. One of the biggest things that I've tried to do is get together with people, because anytime that I'm socially with people, it kind of makes me feel like I'm doing something that's important, that is inherently fleeting, which is something that I need in my life, because what I'm always chasing is something that is important, that will last forever. That's what draws me to art, is that I can create something that will impact people for hundreds or thousands of years to come. But a lot of life is about the fleeting things, that just because something doesn't last, it doesn't mean it wasn't important. But it's troublesome, because basically my only real good friend that I have here is away on travel. My family, who I call on the phone quite often, is preoccupied. Nothing, no fault to them. They're just busy. And I guess it's just been very isolating. It's hilarious, me making this video talking about how to live alone and have it be okay, while I am actively struggling with living alone and the insane amount of loneliness and emptiness that can cause sometimes. And that's, you can see what's kind of crippling me from doing this video, because I kind of feel like a fraud with all of this. And maybe that's why I do this show. Even if it's not the most highly produced thing, not something that I'm qualitatively always proud of, not something that's going to blow up and cause success for me, but because at least it's honest. At least I have 100% certainty that this is real. Because whenever I sit in front of this camera, I don't hide anything. I just start rambling. And that's the point. For me and for you, is to capture an honest look in my mind and my perspective. And I think that's why times like this are even more important to document and get out there. On top of that, this just helps me process things. I'm a really external processor, which makes not having people even harder for me, because it means I don't always get to process through stuff how I need to. And so this show can really help me in that regard to process through things the best I can just on my own. I don't really feel a abject need to speak more to the subject. This is going to be a really short episode in comparison to other ones, but it's what I needed. And I do hope that this was helpful for somebody out there. But most of all, this was helpful for me. I do feel a little bit of relief from the weight on me from this, just getting it out there and seeking to understand why it is that I feel the way I do, and whether it's justified and whether it's not. Sometimes life is just hard. That's kind of how it is right now. But I know I'll make it through. I always do. So I'm gonna go and live my life, do my job, and try not to think about it too much. Thanks for listening. No silly outro today. God bless, folks.